how easy was it initially to say, I'm sorry, and will you forgive me? I mean, what went through you?
Horrible.
My name is Jenny, and I'm a wife and mom raising 2 kids. But I used to live a more glamorous life as a TV reporter. I was on the nightly news interviewing pop stars and politicians. So when I said goodbye to TV and hello to motherhood, I suddenly discovered what we moms are up against. We live in a world that tells us to be rich and famous, thin and successful. You know, almost nobody says, oh, hey, you're a mom? That is fabulous. But you are fabulous, and I'm here to tell you why.
It's Channel Mom with Jenny Dean Schmitz. We're here for you.
Brought to you by the Healthy Marriage Project. Just click on one of their ads to find out about a healthy relationship workshop near you. We all have issues, and a lot of us do have issues with the apology thing. How did you study it? How did you come to a place where you thought, okay, this is how I can handle saying sorry?
Yeah.
And part of it, my guess, is a journey through forgiveness as well.
Yeah, I kind of just came to this realization that the health of my relationships were more important than any pride or ego that was getting in my way. And so what Joe and I did is we just had this little ritual that we would go through. And it made it super easy for me because it didn't have to be a lot of words or anything big like that. But he would say, you know, you're making me feel this way. You're making me feel uncomfortable or upset or whatever it is. And I would say, I'm sorry that I'm making you feel that way. Do you forgive me? And then all he would say is yes. And then it was done.
Well, I think the other thing too is you asked for forgiveness. I think we miss that piece a lot in our culture. We're like, well, sorry, and then you move on. But it puts you in a different place to ask, will you forgive me?
Absolutely.
And then it's back on them. They can choose to or not, but
After my children would be disciplined, I would tell them I forgave them, and I used to see like the light, and the weight was off their shoulders. Just that word, I forgive you. How easy was it initially to say I'm sorry, and will you forgive me? I mean, what went through you?
Horrible.
Okay.
There was, for some reason, it was just really, really hard for me. But the more I did it, and the more we kind of walked through that process together, and I realized, you know, I'm totally safe with him. I don't have to. There's nothing there that I really need to grapple with, and it became so much easier. And then we've been able to teach our kids that. So when there's a conflict, they go through the same little thing. And it's that little ritual that really has a way of just encompassing the situation so it doesn't have to carry on throughout the day or the week. It just leaves it where it is, and you can move on from there.
For all the moms listening today, tell them the phrase again.
We say, I'm sorry that I blank, whatever it was. Do you forgive me?
I'm sorry that I did whatever. Will you forgive me? Or do you forgive me?
Forgive me.
It's great. I mean, it's so simple. For all the moms listening today, can it be an act as if thing? Can they say it even if they don't mean it?
Almost every time, I think that's what it is.
Initially. And
then that kind of starts you on the road to forgiveness. And I think it's easier every time, but absolutely, I think it's a say it before you feel it kind of thing.
But it's go ahead.
because you're still in the throes of anger. Mm-hmm. You can't just switch that off. Oh yeah, I'm fine. I forgive you. Yeah. But you can still choose to forgive even if you're angry.
Do you think our culture is partly to blame for this, in that in our mass culture, in our popular culture, we don't even talk about sin, and we don't even talk about being sinners, and nobody wants to really admit that deep down they're flawed. It's just like, well, they're a good person just having a bad day. It's like, no, you know what? We're all flawed. We're all sinners. But do you think our culture is partly to blame for the fact that it's hard for us to say sorry?
I absolutely do. And I think that was really the root cause of my trouble with saying I'm sorry, is I didn't want to admit that I had done anything wrong, or that I had things in my life that I wasn't proud of. And so I absolutely think that contributes to it.
So if you're not saying sorry, you kind of don't have to admit it, that you have an issue.
Exactly.
Well, I think even when we do say we're sorry in public, in our culture, it's like, well, if I offended you, then I'm sorry. It's never an admission of, how about I offended you?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh, that's a great point.
Absolutely.